Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to the next instalment of our week full of season finales. And we're on for a good one here tonight. This is F2, the second tier division at Invictus Racing League. Do not adjust your sets. It might sound like a Monday night already, but it's actually Tuesday. It's definitely F2, and we're on for a three-way title showdown here tonight in this season finale around Canada. My name is Webbo, standing in for Delangi tonight, and but joining us here in the comms box as usual for the season, we welcome Sab. Hi, Sab. Oh yeah, absolutely. I know a few of these guys from last season. I had the pleasure of doing F2 last season as well. Some of the my best highlights of the year came out of F2 IRL, and particularly some of the drivers that are joining us tonight. But bear with me, bear with both of us. This is our first time working together. We'll do our best to deliver you the best possible stream, but just bear that in mind. Welcome everyone that's joining us. I see Joe Hamster already in the live chat, and welcome whoever else is going to join. Do say hello. Tell us who you're here supporting. We always like to know who our drivers have joining to cheer them on, and drop us a line if there's something you're spotting or a question you have that we might have a chance of answering. 20-minute qualifying as usual, of course, followed by a 50% race to settle this 15-race season once and for all. It's been a season of ups and downs, very different to the F1 season I've been commentating over, Sab. No one driver has dominated or had a string of consistent results, it looks like.
Yeah, you bang on there. I say Tarak out of anybody has looked the most consistent with 4 wins so far this season, but he's also had a few DNFs and a few non-scoring races as well. So, as you say, it's a mixed bag of results from all of them, and all Tarak needs to do tonight is outscore his rivals, and the championship is his. From every race I've seen of him so far, he's looked strong. As we see there, Webbo, it's nice blue skies for qualifying, which will be a huge sigh of relief.
I'm sure. I haven't got a full detailed weather report from the paddock just yet. We'll if as soon as we know anything, we'll let you know. We did have dry qualifying last night, followed by a fully intermediate wet race yesterday. So it is possible that we have a very different conditions. Looks like we've got one of the McLarens heading out of the garage early doors, followed by an Alpha Tauri. But what do our top 3 in the championship need to do tonight, Sab, to win this championship outright?
So basically, Tarak, I'd say, with a 3-point advantage over Smoke and a 9-point advantage over Junior, Tarak just basically has to outscore his rivals, and Tarak will win this championship. Whereas Smoke needs to get an advantage of more than 3 points over Tarak, but then hoping Ginger Tiger doesn't finish ahead of him on a strong evening as well. So anything could happen if Smoke hasn't qualified well lately. So Smoke's going to have to qualify. He's going to have to get on the front row, I'd say, if he's going to really challenge Tarak. Tarak has got good one-lap pace,
right.
And if he's on pole, Tarak, he normally gets out in the lead and you can't catch him. So if he could do that tonight, Tarak, then this championship could be his.
Absolutely. Well, last night Smoke outscored Tarak. They both guest drove in the F1 race. Smoke finished P6 in F1 last night, so he'll be entering with a lot of confidence and a little bit of pressure that I've put on him as well. So we'll see. But I don't know if you're happy taking us through a lap, or you'd prefer me to. But it looks like Joe Hamster is about to start his first one here, Sab.
It is, and Joe Hamster he's underway now on his first flying lap of the evening. He's had a tough season, Joe, and he'll admit he's not gone the way he would have hoped. But this tricky street circuit can easily invalidate around here, or even clip wall. He's managed to navigate that first part of the track nicely. Joe will be hoping to get a decent lap on board here and just build some confidence, because I think Joe seems like a confidence guy, and if he can qualify well tonight, then you could get the very best out of Joe. He's coming into the middle sector now. That's steady through the left right there, coming down to the hairpin now. I always struggle with this bit, I'll be honest. I always outbrake myself down here, end up going too deep. You do that, you will lose a lot of time at this long straight now, and foot down on the accelerator. DRS will be wide open short. It's got a yellow flag flash over it. It'll be a slow running car just out of the way there, nicely. And this really tricky left right here. He can invalidate over it. He navigates it nicely. So stick it to the right for the fastest run to the line with a time.
Unfortunately, I think an invalidation there over that very point you were saying he was risking it.
I missed that, but Kuipers has gone faster. Sorry about that. I missed that part.
Oh, absolutely. Not a problem. Not a problem. Keza goes fastest immediately, though. He gets a 1:11.475, just outperforming Kuipers, whose brother-in-law has joined us from F1 in the chat. Good evening to Burmeister. JP9 half a second further back. We've got Rusman on the track at the moment. I don't see either of our championship leaders at the moment. Well, Smoke's going out on medium tyres for a little exploratory run. Michael Lutke posts a P3, 3/10 off the fastest lap so far. Let's have a quick check then at the current times. 1:11.401. With Smoke going P6 on those medium tyres. Not an ideal way to start proceedings. Tirac though is on track and just getting a nice toe actually down the casino straight. It's difficult to pick your braking point. Those braking marker boards are very, very small if you happen to be concentrating on a car going into the pits, as Tirac managed to avoid doing through the final chicane, then goes towards the line. Tirac with his first lap on the board, only P5 of 1:11.568. So our championship contenders here with some work to do, Sab, on these first laps.
They are. Ginger Tiger is leading, but this is what we was talking about briefly off there. This is how close this qualifying can be. With a 1:11.568 in P5, he's fractionally off a P3 there. So Tirac is not done badly there, and you'll soon see. This is a pattern from Smoke. He tends to, in the last 3 or 4 races, go on a set of mediums just to get a feel for the track, see what he can do on those mediums. He usually tends to put in 2 or 3 laps on those medium tyres and then puts on a soft tyre later on. I personally wouldn't do that, but that's what Smoke tends to do, and he's the one gunning for a championship. I'm not, so he's probably the one who knows more than me.
Well, Rusman out of shape coming out of the final chicane there, manages to tag the opposite wall to the wall of champions. I don't know if that makes it the wall of losers, but he's managed to strip his front wing off the car after invalidating his first lap, and then of course on the second lap as well. We've got Joe Hamster still in the pits, hasn't actually logged a time yet, and only pretty much Waitsy out on track. Just in that intervening period, we saw Simon Palmer go P6 of 1:11.620. He fancied his chances, has been in touch with me already. In the build up to tonight's race. He was around for the stream last night as well. Burmeister predicting a Kuipers P1, as you would have to expect with his slight sense of bias there. And Waitsy then starts his next lap here in the Red Bull, heading down this curved straight towards a difficult turn 1. Into turn 2 complex. You can run side by side round here, Sab, and it's an opportunity, but also a real risk exiting that turn 2.
It really is, and you can find yourself buried into the wall or spinning out if you're banging wheels through there. But Waitsy, he's done well since he's come into F2. He's shown good pace. He's had some bad luck as well along the way, but Waitsy, I'm sure, will want to put his car well within that top 10. Michael Lutke's teammate in P9 at the moment. We've just got 3 guys not set a time at it. Russman, the other teammate of Smoke, also not set a time. So the moment I'm saying Haas are looking the stronger of the 2 out of Haas and Mercedes.
Yeah, and that is the 2 teams gunning for that Constructors' Championship. Waitsy a little bit out of shape in the hairpin, or Le Pingle if you are a local. Heading towards, we've got green flag notification, looking for a very, very late braking, big early apex there to avoid the wall of champions on the exit. Goes towards the line, then Waitsy on his first hot lap, and that goes fastest overall, a 1:11.0 a very comfortable first lap. However, the rest of the he is slightly offset in terms of strategy here, and the track will be evolving, Slab. I'm not quite sure by 4/10, but he's put in a very, very good early lap marker there.
That is a fantastic banker lap from Waitsy, and what can these guys do now? As you say, 4/10 of a second to Ginger Tiger and JP911 in second and third. That is a pretty good going. So what can the guys do? They're coming out now for their next outlaps. I've just split over to one of the guys. I don't know if someone on the outlap has hit the wall somewhere, but I've just seen a lot of debris along the track. So I don't know if somebody on the outlap has collected the wall, which would be a nightmare if they have.
Yeah, it looks like there was a yellow flag in Sector 1 temporarily there. Joe Hamster on his next run. He's slightly overdone that that apex in the hairpin as well. Looks like they're having trouble. I wonder if there's a tailwind going into there. It's not quite, the track not quite performing perhaps as the drivers are expecting. I haven't seen, obviously, a wind direction issue. We can't see as spectators the wind direction. Joe Hamster then skips over the final chicane. Car getting very light at the back, but hanging on. And towards the line of 111.170, gets right up there onto the potential front row. He's only nearly 2/10, well, less than a tenth actually, away from Waitsy on provisional pole. Keza has invalidated his next lap. Kuipers then, we know Burmeister's watching for Kuipers. He heads to the line at the end of his outlap and is starting his next one. So let's ride with the AlphaTauri on stream. I'm sure, Sab, you're keeping your eye on anybody else looking hot at the moment, but if you see someone going purple, let me know.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye on Smoke. He's now bolted on a set of soft tyres. He's not really set anything representative at the moment. He's just starting his first line on the softs now. He's going to have to push it as Louis, the other McLaren driver, Louis, into P1 provisionally with a 111.0, 6,000th of a second faster than Waitsy. Wow, it's getting close.
That is absolutely super tight at the top. Kuipers still along on his lap, 2/10 in better shape than he was before. Now that could actually jump him 4 or 5 positions, Kuipers, if he can hold on to that advantage. Even more so if he can get into the 111.1 kind of territory here. Double yellow flag at the end of the lap. No big problems for Kuipers though. He's about to finish this lap out. Huge apex, that seems to be the key tonight. Huge apex part 1 and barely any apex part 2 of that chicane as Kuipers goes pole. A 111.063, that's by 9 thousandths, and Tirac quickly vying for this championship, in lead of our championship, and taking the qualifying by the scruff of the neck. A 110.895, the first driver into the 110s. So it's very much big boys at the top. Ginger Tiger has invalidated his current lap, unfortunately. So has JP9, as has Keza. We're struggling to find drivers actually on a hot lap here. Martin seems to be driving fairly slowly in his first sector as well. Simon Palmer has managed to invalidate. Trems needed a new invite, but has purpled that middle sector, Sab. So we'll watch on with Trems here in the Haas.
Yeah, can he get himself right up there with his teammate? I was watching Smoke. He's put himself into P6, right in where he needs to be, but he'll need to find more time if he wants to get right up there with track. Here comes Trems. Where can Trems put himself into P7? He's into the top 10, so this is mighty close once again for qualifying.
Right in the mix then. Has everything continued fairly cordially so far in the season, or have we got any rivalries or payback due for anybody through the season at this stage, Sab?
It's tough to say, really. They're all normally just squabbling and fighting with each other over thousandths of a second normally, and it's normally going to get even closer with only a few minutes left. So I would say Tirac is sitting comfortably right now, but I have to call myself a liar because it probably isn't.
Rusman then from 15th on the grid, a very slow first lap. He crosses the line 11 seconds faster than he went before, but stays last. That has to be a record for the amount of time gained and positions versus positions gained. Michael Lutka is on the medium tyres, saving another set of softs potentially for the race. I don't know if you've had any chance to predict some strategies tonight, but how likely are we to see a 2-stop or in normal running. We seem to have only a 15% chance of rain, so we could well be on for a fully dry session here.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone try something different like a two-stop. If they're struggling, I wouldn't be surprised for them to try something a bit more bold and really go for it and see what they can get out of this race. If they're struggling down at the bottom end of the points, why not try something different? I wouldn't be surprised to see the likes of Chirac, if he gets on pole, to just do what he has done throughout the season when he gets on pole, go out into the lead, manage his tyres, take that one stop, and in his hopes, get it to the checkered flag. I wouldn't expect him to take a gamble on the two-stop personally,
yeah.
But who knows what will happen. We're going to have an exciting race, that's for sure, and it's really easy to make mistakes around this track, so you might be forced into a two-stop until you pick up any ring damage.
It's interesting to see the Alfa Romeos out on their outlaps at the moment, very close to one another. Now that's either a big accident and complication waiting to happen, or potentially a little bit of towing each other down the casino straight to come. Waitsy though, he was quick on his first lap, right up there in P4. He tackles his next one a little bit out of sync with the rest of the drivers, building himself a little bit of margin for a potential invalidation. I think he's going to go full bore at this one, Sab, and we'll watch with bated breath to see how this first sector compares. I think Waitsy might be in with a shout here. There's a purple first sector, 88 hundredths faster than he's been before through that first sector, as he now tackles the first of the DRS zones into the lap, into turns 8 and 9, looking for a good turn in. Didn't really get it, it seems, and I think he's actually bailed on this one. That looks to be a slightly slow way out. I think just the distraction of the car going off track in front of him, he's cut that lap short. But outlaps for Kuipers and Louis have begun. Neither Tirac nor Smoke or even Joe Hamster, even Ginger Tiger out there at the moment, all waiting in the pits for the last possible moment for the best track evolution.
It was a shame with Waitsy, but I was riding on board with him then, and I don't know if he clicked the wall on the left-hand side. I don't know if the game was playing tricks with me watching via spectator mode, but right. It looked like he slightly clipped the wall on the left-hand side. Which
there is a horrible under the bridge. There is a really horrible kink in the Armco that it is very easy to rub a wheel on. Yeah.
It looked like he had done that, and I think that just put him off. With the car ahead of him, like you pointed out, it looked like it just put him off enough to get the right turn in there. So that's probably why he ended up backing out. It's a shame because going purple. But Louis now in third place, that McLaren driver, he's off for his final run this evening. Great lap to put him into P3. Can he get it any further up the field? He's just navigating the first sector now. Is he going to be able to go any quicker? 1,000.
It is nip and tuck between him and Kuipers. He's just up the road slightly. I'll keep an eye on Kuipers. You keep an eye on Louis for us. We'll as the title contenders come out of the pits on their outlaps, we can focus on the second and third current drivers on the qualifying tonight. 0.3 of a second for Kuipers up so far in sector 2. He's looking to try and get on the pole position and looking likely. What about Louis?
2.5 tenths up is Louis. So this is going to be close.
So it's all about this final sector between Kuipers and Louis, second versus third, or potentially going for pole here over the wow, what a massive first apex that was for Kuipers. I think he took flight over there. Oh. Kuipers across the line claims that provisional pole, 1:10.760, and Louis, oh dear, is that a bit of a mess out of the final chicane.
Yeah, he rode the first curve way too much, spun it on the way out onto the start-finish straight, and his rear end hit the wall, so that is him qualifying over, which is a real shame because he looked like he was going to be right up there with Kuipers. So what can Tirac do now? Championship leader, can Tirac do anything about it? I think he's still on an outlap, even though it's not saying.
Yeah, it does look like he is on an outlap, doesn't it? He's certainly warming up the car. Smoke is definitely on one though. He's gone purple in that first sector as well. So Smoke bringing the challenge. He's bringing the speed at the very last moment here in qualifying. He's left it right till the end. Been very much in the midfield here. And what wouldn't it be awesome if we could get our title contenders right at the front here? Ginger Tiger needs to lift himself slightly. Smoke is up by half a second already. That is enough to see him challenge for pole against Kuipers. Tirak in second is yet to start his next lap, or has he just started it? I think he's just started it. Let's ride with Smoke though, because he's going for it now. He might get a distant tow from the two cars weaving in front of him. He could really do with someone moving out of the way here. A slight hesitation from Smoke through the braking zone of the final chicane. Sprints to the line, holds the car to the right hand side. Smoke onto the front row, onto provisional pole, a 110.588. And where's Tirak?
He is not improving. He's a tenth and a half down. He's invalidated. So Tirak at best will be P3. Wow.
Absolutely shocking. Louis into the pits. Kuipers has done his lap. Waitsy has invalidated this current lap. It's all happening right at the death of qualifying here in F2. Joe Hamster is invalidated, but Ginger Tiger has done the same, even though he was nearly 3/10 up and to the good onto his lap. It might be all she wrote for qualifying. Michael Lutka, perhaps the last car who might have a chance here. Rusman, I think, is on a lap as well. But down in the bottom of the order, Michael Lutka in 14th, I think might be the only driver left valid on the track right now, as Tirak has managed to retire from the session. He's absolutely not going to go any quicker. Michael Lutka across the final sector, there's a yellow flag for him, but hopefully he'll be able to ignore that. Goes to the line. Michael Lutka straight up to P7 from P14. What a climb at the end of it. Let's see about Simon Palmer. He's not going anywhere. Rusman might be the last car to cross the line, and Rent's enjoying Smoke's time there. Rent is a regular viewer for us. And Rent says, where would this put him in F1 tier yesterday? Well, I mean, Smoke did perform well yesterday. He didn't qualify expertly, but he did bring the car home in 6th place in F1, with Tirak retiring from the race. That kind of a result tonight could well see Smoke claim the championship from 2nd place here tonight, Sab.
He could, and I was just having a quick look. If it was to finish now like this, in Smoke first, Tirak third, Smoke would take it by 4 points.
Wow.
So this is huge. So Smoke now needs to have a good getaway at the start, keep Kuipers between himself and Tirak, and then, for his sake, fingers crossed, this championship could be heading his way. But we've got a long way to go. Tirak is a fast racer, so this is by no way over just yet. But what a qualifying it has been for Smoke, under pressure from the beginning, because he didn't look like he had the pace.
Yeah,
absolutely nailed it, didn't he?
Definitely, yeah, really good. Well, take us through the standings here for qualifying, if you will, please, Sab, and we look forward to the race to come.
So we've got Smoke in P1, Kuipers in P2, Tirak in P3, Louis, great qualifying for him in P4, Waitsy in P5, Joe Hamster, another good qualifier, in P6, Michael Lutka in P7, Trems P8, Ginger Tiger P9, that's a tough qualifying for Ginger Tiger in this championship battle, JSP in P10, JP in P11, Keza in P12, SFR Martin in P13, Simon Palmer in P14, and a really tough qualifying for Rusman, and that is not good for him and his championship down in P15. So he's going to want to try and get his car up into the top 10 from that starting position if he's going to help his teammate win this Constructors. And Rusman has had the most overtakes this season as well, so it looks like he could be one to watch again tonight.
Well, yeah, it is a mouth-watering prospect here. Exactly what we would want if we were hand-picking the grid for a title showdown. Smoke versus Tirak, with the outside chance of a Ginger Tiger championship victory. Then it is also Haas versus Mercedes. If you are joining us for the first time tonight, just to keep you abreast, we will, perhaps after the pit stops, do a live points calculation, Sab, and hopefully you'll be able to watch the start of the race from the back and give us any incidents and accidents as we focus naturally at the front. But we'll have a customary pause here. We'll be diving straight into the race. No formation laps, so no time to go get a drink or to wait around to place your predictions. Let us know who you think is going to win tonight, and the podium order would be awesome if you're watching us, who you're cheering on. I must say a quick hello to Alfie and Isabella. watching Simon, their dad, race tonight. I know that that they're big fans and hoping to see a customary, as far as I've been told, a customary climb up the order from Simon Palmer. He was predicting he wouldn't qualify well, but will move forward in the race. So let's see what we have to come. We are only a 15% chance of rain. It could be dry all the way through. A fair fight, really. The rain would be a roll of the dice for us that the championship contenders may not wish for, but will be a rarity here to manage to run the whole race, Sab, without a safety car either.
Yeah, that would be a rarity. I've often seen safety cars around this track racing here in IRL and watching F1 in real life. So if we don't get a safety car, I would be surprised. Smokes, he just wants a boring race now, doesn't he? He wants to just get out in the lead and just no incidents, no safety cars or anything. He just wants to get out in the lead and leave the guys behind him. He doesn't want dramas, doesn't want anything else. Whereas Tirac, he's not out of this yet, Tirac. Even though P3 is not that far behind him, Tirac, I know, is fast, and Smoke will be under pressure. But Kuipers is also a very fast driver. He's had some tough races this season, but on his day, he can also challenge. So Smoke's not got this easy at the start.
No, it's a tricky track to get away cleanly. It's a very short run to the first two corners. We've got a countdown timer beginning, so we anticipate a start very soon for you. Be patient with us while on the stream we organise the correct cameras and screen details. It might be a sector or two before I can bring up the tyre selections, but with 10 seconds to go, let me hear your predictions for the race, if you will. Good evening to JP. He can't stay away in the live chat. Was there with me last night, and to everyone else joining us who I haven't mentioned yet. Here we go then for the season finale. 5 lights on around Canada, and it's time to go. It's time to drop the clutch and go. A neat and tidy start from the front row, but Kuipers straight away into the lead. Smoke is going to have to protect from a battle for third place from Louis round the outside. It looks like Tirac getting a little bit swamped there from both McLarens. He's left hung on the outside against Joe Hamster, making a lightning start and getting himself into 4th place. Tirac dropping down, Smoke only losing 1 place. Michael Lutker up to 7th with his teammate Waitsy, and Tirac now looking to consolidate, get tyre temperature built up and start to build the speed. But Sab, a dramatic start. Both our championship contenders losing places from the front.
That is a dramatic start, and we also almost nearly had an incident with Trems. He had to go across the grass at the beginning. Ginger Tiger putting pressure on Trems but couldn't get past, but Ginger Tiger under pressure from JSP. Just a quick note, the majority of the field has gone with hard tyres, whereas Kuipers, Louis, Waitsy, Michael Lutker and SFL Martin have all gone for the medium tyre. Nobody fancying that soft tyre. Meanwhile, JSP and JP battling it out for P10 and P11, going down that long straight towards the start-finish line.
Tirac was in a shot of a dive bomb, didn't quite have the overspeed to go for it. Difficult to make an overtake here without either a mistake proceeding or using the DRS. Tirac right across the apex with Joe Hamster defending like a lion on the inside. In fact, Tirac leaving the door open slightly here to Waitsy into turn 3. Will Waitsy claim that inside line? Yes, indeed he does, and gets the quicker line through into turn 4. Waitsy completes the move. Tirac went from challenging for 4th place to getting down into 6th place. It's not going well for our championship leader at the moment.
No, it's not. And you spoke about Simon Palmer and what he could potentially do in the race. He's gone up 3 places. He's putting the pressure on JP for P10 now. Can't get past that Aston Martin right now, but Simon Palmer is looking racy. But you want to get past that Aston Martin quickly because it's starting to hold him up.
Absolutely. Very tight all the way through the field. Everybody's still pretty much within DRS range with the exception of Joe Hamster on the back of his teammate Louis. Looks like Simon Palmer moving up to P10 into the hairpin. He's going to have a bit of a defending job to do down this casino straight. No DRS, of course, until the leader crosses the line for the next time, as Smoke is now right on the back here of Kuipers through the wall of champions chicane at the end of the lap. Louis with the new fastest lap at the turn of at the start of lap 3 here. DRS now officially enabled. Ginger Tiger fighting with Trems a little bit further back, but eyes at the moment, as I'm sure you'll understand, on the progress of Smoke and Tirac as they fight for the championship. Ginger Tiger out of it at the moment. He needs to considerably outscore both Smoke and Tirac, but Tirac having problems here. This kind of situation would leave with Smoke potentially as our champion. So Tirac losing out right now. Don't forget about Haas versus Mercedes for the championship as well. Looks like advantage Haas right now, but it's early doors. It's only lap 3 so far, Sab.
It is, and it's already very exciting. Waitsy looking to put the pressure on Joe Hamster now. He's getting considerably closer to the back of that McLaren, and he's dragging along Tirac with him. Waitsy will be hoping to try and get a move on Joe, because Joe's slightly falling off his teammate. Now here comes Waitsy. He's surely not going to send one up the inside there. No, he's not. That would have been very brave, but can Waitsy now get a move down into turn 1? DRS will be able to Smoke with the fastest lap. Here comes Waitsy. Can he get a move done on Joe Hamster? Sends it down the inside. They bang the wheels slightly. Joe defending as hard as he can and as fair as he can, and Joe just about hangs on to P4. Tirac is looking to also try and get past these guys, but what this is doing, Webbo, is this is ruining Tirac's chances to try and catch up with Smoke.
Yeah, he has lost those places at the start, and now he's stuck behind a driver on hard tyres, while Smoke manages to keep with the pace himself on hards versus Kuipers there on medium tyres. Forgive me, I've always called him Kuipers, but if our pronunciation is wrong, then we apologise. We've got Louis on the back of Smoke. This top 3 battle very much on here. Smoke holding his own though on these hard tyres, which are going to only get better and better as they get warmer. They're probably still not quite up to temperature on the full tanks of fuel. Smoke just 1.5 tenths of a second behind. Spends a little bit of ERS, definitely deploys the DRS and takes the lead at the end of lap 4, start of lap 5. Smoke doing what he needs to do here to potentially seal this title. Joe Hamster still successfully defending, but it's getting very busy. Waitsy versus Tirac now. Waitsy leaving the inside line open. He'll have to take a similar line to Joe Hamster as the end plate was at risk there. Tirac running out of room on the apex. Waitsy still fights back, but it looks like Tirac has done enough to seal that potential 5th place now, and taking Waitsy getting 1 place back and starting to move forward. The first penalty on the board is there by JP9, if anyone was making a prediction on that, but it's lap 5. Smoke from Kuipers, from Louis, Joe Hamster, Tirac, Waitsy, Michael Lutka, Ginger Tiger, Simon Palmer and Trems the top 10.
That was huge, wasn't it, for Tirac?
Yeah.
He needed to get that move done. So next up is to get past Joe Hamster, and then he's got to bridge a 2-second gap to Joe's teammate. Joe doing nicely so far in the race. It's good to see Joe right up there. He's had a real tough season. So Tirac will have seen Smoke into P1 now. So all he's got to do now is full attack. He's got to try and get up with Smoke and challenge that first place. But right now, Smoke is looking good as we see Louis ahead of Kuipers into P2. Yep. A move there from Louis. Nice.
DRS pass, it seemed, before the braking zone, as Waitsy is a little bit all over the place. He's just picked up a 3-second penalty. He was a little bit loose going through the hairpin, looked to be caught on the non-grippy side. He's now defending from his teammate rather than staying on the back of Tirac. He's just slipped out of the 1-second window. Simon Palmer picks up a penalty as well. I think it's going to be penalty central here tonight. There's lots of places where the apexes welcome you to skip over the white line, Sab, and I think that's going to add up.
Oh yeah, I've been caught out several times around here myself. It's very frustrating. There you go, as another time penalty comes in. These championship rivals though will not be wanting to pick up any time penalties, especially Tirac. If he picks up a time penalty while stuck behind Joe Hamster, this is going to be massive. With Michael Lutka, who's the first one to have an issue. Yeah. That's unfortunately a typical second half run for Michael Lutka. Plenty of pace, but just unfortunately the odd mistake here, and that has dropped him to the back of field, whereas Russman is promoted up to P14. He hasn't made the moves I expected him, and he's stuck 1.2 seconds behind Keza in P14.
Yeah, he will fight to the bitter end here for the title for Mercedes. Louis still within range here of a move on Smoke. So is Kuipers on Louis. The gap still over 2 seconds though between third Kuipers and fourth Joe Hamster. Tirac without a great deal of overspeed or being able to catch Joe Hamster and be within range of make a move. He is half a second behind. But perhaps just biding his time. I imagine he would have spent a fair amount of ERS in battling back here from his poor start. So I think he's going to have to charge the car a little bit. Although by the look of things, he's got good grip coming into the second sector now, into turns 8 and 9 as they fly over these very, very tall, but if very smooth curbs at the apexes of these chicanes. Down into the hairpin they go. Tirac will be looking for a really good exit here as it looks like Joe Hamster gets a little bit out of shape. Has Tirac managed to get an advantage too early? They bang wheels slightly and it's actually Watesy back on Tirac here. Watesy riding on board with Tirac. Watesy has got the nose ahead, but Tirac with the slipstream from Joe Hamster in front. They'll go almost side by side into the chicane at the end of the lap. Watesy might have another go though with a smoother run through that final chicane. Tirac will defend to the middle of the road, it looks like, and it is status quo here in the battle for fourth place. Joe Hamster, Tirac, Watesy, the current and continuing order as Louis has got within a third of a second of Smoke at the top.
He has, and he's really started to put the pressure on Smoke. Smoke has pretty much drained his ERS. The red light was blinking going across this, the start-finish line. Louis with DRS now. Smoke would have been thinking, I'm into first place. This should be an easy run to the finish line. But no, Louis is saying, I'm not having any of that. I want to win this race. And there's a great opportunity here. He's gaining and gaining and gaining. And if Louis gets a good run out of this hairpin, Smoke will be under a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, a little bit more on the ERS charge state here for Louis as well. Smokey's going to be vulnerable here, and of course he's fighting for a championship. Louis, nothing to lose in that regard. He's all out for the win. Smoke just has to keep his eye on where Tirac is. It's a fascinating situation for the championship, although the top speed for Smoke looks very impressive down that Casino straight. It looks like Louis is going to have a tough time passing Smoke with that kind of a top speed advantage.
We've just had a moment between Trems and JP. Trems, we've got a move between Tirac and Joe Hamster, Webber.
We have side by side they go. Joe tried to take his middle of the road view. There's a McLaren front wing lying in tatters on the approach to turn 3 and 4. But Tirac has got across into that fourth place, and he is ahead now. It looks like maybe, is that Louis without the front wing? Yeah. It is. So Louis and Kuipers have certainly swapped places if they haven't come to contact. But it looked like it was the entry to turn 3 that McLaren front wing was missing. Perhaps just a misjudgment from Louis.
I believe it was. I think he's run wide and hit the wall, and it just shows you what this track can do. Louis was pushing and pushing and pushing, and unfortunately he's going to have to pit now as Russman picks up 3 seconds. That's a real shame because Louis was arguably the fastest guy on the track at that point, and that's going to drop him right to the back of the field, which is a real shame. But that is a huge sigh of relief for Smoke, isn't it? It
is, absolutely. I think, though, that the hard tyre window might just about be open for Louis. It may not be the end of the world. He's going to have to go straight into the pits here. So Tirac, it's interesting pit lane entry here as there's another driver, Watesy pits for a scheduled pit stop, it looks like. So it could have been a lot worse for Louis. He could have done that just after a pit stop or in the early laps. But I think that hard tyre window could well now be open, given the fact that Watesy has decided to pit to get out of position there. Now, so Smoke in the lead. Kuipers 8/10 of a second behind. Tirac in third place now, and in a great place here for his championship, but some 4.3 seconds behind Smoke, with Kuipers wearing a penalty as well. Sab, this could be a 1-2 finish.
It could be, but Tirac, what does he need to do right now? It's I say 4.3 seconds. He's got some work to do here. He's on the same tyre as Smoke. Is Smoke starting to feel the pressure a little bit out in this lead, because he was 1.2 seconds ahead of Kuipers before this lap, and now it's down to 7/10 of a second. Is he racing a bit tight maybe? I don't know, but Smoke will be under pressure from Kuipers shortly with the interesting gap is, can Tirac get that gap down to Smoke? That'll be the one to watch. Right now it's still hovering at 4.4, 4.3, and it'd be a huge sigh of relief for Tarak that Louis did end up pitting. So Ginger Tiger, wow.
That was threading the eye of the needle as Ginger Tiger manages to get past Joe Hamster. They both went side by side through the final chicane. Joe Hamster now vulnerable and losing a position to Simon Palmer, of all people. Started near the back of the grid. He's now in 5th place, Sab. On the medium tyres, he'll be stopping soon. I imagine he's starting to run out of grip on those mediums, but he's managing to bring the car forward. A lot of places gained there for Simon Palmer, taking advantage. He's 9 up from his start position, the climber of the field, as exactly as he predicted. So straight up there into 5th now. Ginger Tiger in 4th. Tarak not able to make huge headroads into the lead of Smoke and Kuipers at this stage, but it's early doors. Only lap 11 so far. 1-3 finish for Smoke and Tarak. I think does that mean Smoke still edges it in that instance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. It's incredibly close. At the moment, Kuipers would keep 2nd place as well, wouldn't he? Because Tarak's not within that 3 seconds, so Tarak really needs to reel in Kuipers and get within 3 seconds. But Kuipers now is the one doing the reeling in because he's now about half a second behind Smoke. But on those medium tyres, as you say, he'll be wanting to pit as soon as Martin is the latest to pick up a time penalty. He's we've got a move between Ginger Tiger and Simon.
Yeah, that was, I think that might have been Ginger Tiger running out of grip, braking very late and ending up pushing Simon Palmer near to the edge of the circuit on the outside of turn 1, who almost collides with the front wing of Joe Hamster, having a speculative look into turn 3. It's very difficult to make a pass work in there. Joe Hamster might have been better off being a little bit more patient than that, as Simon Palmer clearly losing the rear of the car now, right at the end of his medium tyre allocation. I'm sure he's managed to burn through those tyres with the kind of progress he's made so far. He's going to have to be really gentle on these now if he wants to see any more laps out of this towards the pit window. I imagine it's about time to pit on a scheduled 1-stop medium to hard, but with Smoke, with only Kuipers and Michael Lucker left on the medium, Sab, I think Simon Palmer might do well. He's starting to lose speed. Where's Smoke right now? Smoke has lost out position to Kuipers. Smoke has lost the lead, and that is crucial for Smoke. He really needs the win tonight with the positioning of Tarak. So Tarak, suddenly things looking a little bit brighter for him.
Yeah, Kuipers with the DRS. Smoke didn't really defend that. I think Smoke was trying to play sensible here. He probably thought, if I try to defend and battle with Kuipers here, he's going to lose a lot of time, especially to Tarak behind. So he probably thought Kuipers is going to pit soon, just let him pass, focus on my own race. And I think it's pretty sensible because Tarak has stayed 4.5 seconds behind Smoke, whereas if he'd have spent the next couple of laps, Smoke, battling Kuipers for this position, he could have lost 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So I think it's sensible play from Smoke there.
Playing the long game, it seems. We've still got a real hard-fought battle here for effectively P3, led by Tarak. We've got followed very closely by led by Ginger Tiger for P4, followed closely by Simon Palmer, Joe Hamster, JP, Trems, JSP, Martin, Keza, Michael, all within a second of each other. Massive DRS train here at the midpoint of our race. JP in the chat predicts that this could come down to who gets the fastest lap at the end of the race between our title contenders, but that is certainly a strong possibility. We'll wait though for the pit stops to start here for those medium runners. Joe Hamster versus Simon Palmer. This continues. It's getting a little bit nastier now. A little bit of contact as Joe tries to get the outside to the inside line into turns 2 and 3. Very strangely going for it again in turn 3. Picks up a time penalty. Cutting over the apex of turn 4. Joe suffering a little bit of a lack of patience going on as Simon Palmer also picks up a penalty, trying to get away from him.
So just to give you a bit of an update with the championship for the drivers between Smoke and Tarak. If it's finished 2nd and 3rd right now, Tarak would win it by 1 point. Okay. 1 point.
It looks like Simon Palmer has just completely run out of tyres and grip. He just simply can't get the car into the chicanes. He's lost out now. Certainly fighting hammer and tongue here to hold on. Ginger Tiger ahead. Smoke has just pipped Kuipers into that final chicane again. Smoke back in the lead with a second dab of DRS down the start-finish, not quite straight. And Smoke back in the lead. Absolutely pounced there from a long way back as they continue to battle in the midfield. Simon Palmer ahead of Joe Hamster still. And obviously lots of these cars derating as well, waiting for to put the hard tyres on those medium runners. Kuipers, Simon Palmer, the only ones left on them, as Michael Lutker is now pitted, and everyone else on hard tyres, either from the start or after their first stop, Sab.
Yeah, you'd imagine surely Kuipers and Simon Palmer will have to pit. Surely Simon Palmer's looking very vulnerable now. He's lost 1.7 seconds to Ginger Tiger, and I just hope this doesn't end in tears between himself and Joe Hamster, because they're, as you say, they're getting rather aggressive with each other now, and I'd hate to see either of them taken out of this race just because they're fighting as hard as they can to score good points this evening. Joe wants to try and get the position. Oh, go for it.
No, yeah, Joe just running out of grip there, almost, having to avoid contact with Simon Palmer, who's braking earlier than Joe is expecting. Joe with much better grip, of course, on hard tyres versus Simon Palmer's mediums. Will he go into the pits now? No, Simon Palmer stays out. Obviously, he's not quite as near the edges as perhaps I thought. Joe Hamster, though, with a much better run out of the final chicane, draws alongside, but he's only just about alongside here into turn one, goes round the long way round the outside, out becomes the inside for turn two, completes the move with more sidewall rubbing going on. There won't be much by way of tyre markings left on these. The Pirelli will be scraped right off by the end of this stint, as now JP on the back of Simon Palmer. Looks like Simon Palmer becoming a bit of a moving roadblock on these mediums.
He is a bit, and talking of the medium runners, Kuipers has pitted and he's down into P12 now, onto the hard tyres. Yep. So what can Kuipers do on those hard tyres in P12? So that promotes to Iraq into second place, with Ginger Tiger in third. Our three championship contenders in first, second and third right now.
Absolutely, and all on the same strategy as well. Some 8 seconds separating them in total, maybe 9 seconds overall. Smoke, Tirac, Ginger Tiger, if it did finish like this, it would be a fitting end to the season, I'm sure, with the top three in those positions. But with the medium runners having pitted, Kuipers has managed to find himself a reasonable amount of clear air. The last thing you want to do, though, is come out in the middle of this DRS train. Simon Palmer pits, the last of the medium starters to pit now at the end of lap 16, start of lap 17. Smoke then, after all is said and done, still in the lead of this race by 4.4 seconds, and I would suspect now starting to manage that gap to Tirac behind. Joe Hamster, another penalty. The current fastest lap does lie with Smoke, a 1:18 something or other from the last time I checked, but those penalties starting to add up as well now, Sab, on the board.
They are, and to be honest, I don't like seeing all the penalties, because for us commentators it makes it really difficult to predict where people are, and it kind of ruins seeing all these penalties, especially when you go across the finish line and someone who may be in fourth to finish ninth. So it's a bit of an eyesore, but it is what it is around this track. So right now, if neither Smoke or Tirac got the fastest lap, they would be on level points right now. So I believe that goes down to race wins. I could be wrong, but I believe it would go to race wins then, and Tirac has more race wins.
Okay.
So, as Ginger Tiger pits on the hard tyres.
Interesting. So he wants to use those mediums for as long as possible. Something I've seen a number of times in the season so far in F1 has been that actually the tyre, the pit stops tend to equalise a little bit, because the hard tyre tends to be that much slower than the medium. The drivers just can't wait to get on the medium as soon as the medium runners have to pit at the last possible moment. Waitsy down in 10th right now. Keza and JSP getting a little bit in each other's pockets here, as JSP picks up a further penalty. That's almost a complete run of penalties now, from P3 down to P10, but thankfully our three championship contenders managing to avoid those penalties at this stage. It's lap 18. Smoke leads Tirac by 4.7 seconds. Still waiting to make that first pit stop as we keep our eye here on the battle for 5th between Martin, JSP and Keza.
Yeah, there's a nice little train happening as Louis picks up a time penalty. I think that's another time penalty for him. Ginger Tiger has come out of the pits on those medium tyres into P12. What can he do on those medium tyres? He's got Kuipers ahead of him, who was also pitted a few laps ago on the hard tyres. So can he catch up with Kuipers and then get ahead of Kuipers, because that'll put him net ahead of him in the races. We see some more runners coming in now. Martin and Keza into the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. They were all vying for that 5th place, but only JSP managed to stay out in the Williams in the middle of the sandwich between the two cars. We've got a battle going on here for P3 currently. JP9 against Joe Hamster, who's holding that P3 with just 0.3 of a second separating them. We'll see who manages to get those undercuts as Joe Hamster spins a spin and a retirement. That is pretty crucial. That could trigger a safety car. The car is stranded on the racetrack. It is missing a front corner. Joe unfortunately spins out of the race all by himself, really under pressure, but unfortunately that might well count as an unforced error. We have got a safety car, Sab.
Wow. And that is exactly what Smoke did not want. Now, do we expect Smoke and Tirac to come into the pits? I imagine he would. Yes, Smoke. They have to. Straight into the pits now. Yes.
In he comes, and that will trigger everybody else, of course. No one else on the hard tyres who've been running for half the race already would consider, I don't think, not coming in. As a question as to whether anybody who's already stopped for the hard tyres decides on a second set of mediums if they have done the right thing. But JSP picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. That is something to be very cognizant of here, Sab, the driving to that delta.
Yeah, that delta can be a real pain. I've experienced it where it says you're negative -8 seconds and you almost have to come to a stop on the track. It can really bite you. So hopefully that's not what's happened to JSP. If it has, it's really frustrating, especially when you're having a good race. So really unfortunate to pick up a drive-through penalty here. So yeah, that has got very interesting. So Kuipers got back into second place on those hard tyres, but he's going to be under massive pressure, isn't he, from Tirac? The
problem with the hard tyres is of course the warm-up period, and that applies to restarts just as much as it does to light starts, standing starts. So Kuipers is gonna struggle for sure, Sab, away from the line. I don't think he'll be troubling Smoke unless he's got incredible tyre warm-up abilities. It's going to be a case of defensive driving for the first few sectors, but he's managed to get himself right up there in between Smoke and Tirac, and that is strategically working out pretty well for him. The safety car has left him roughly where he was prior to his first pit stop.
I don't know if we've missed it, but I think Ginger Tiger might have had an issue at some point, because he's pitted again for another set of mediums, and now he's last. So his championship challenge seemingly is coming undone by the second year. So Ginger Tiger has pitted again for another set of mediums, now down in P14.
Yeah, for those who heard a flushing noise, that was Ginger Tiger's championship hopes, it seems, down into P14. Smoke and Tirac, these are the guys fighting for the outright title here in F2 for season 15. We're also keeping an eye on Mercedes versus Haas for the Constructors' Championship, but that looks at the moment with Rosman down in 9th, that looks like it's going to go by way of Haas, Sab?
No, Mercedes are going to take it right now. So it's getting very close, but right now Mercedes will take it. Smoke, I think, obviously is bringing the most points home, but I think Russman will want to get much closer to Trems, because Trems in P5, so Russman will want to get a bit closer to Trems to try and solidify Mercedes. So it could be a clean sweep for Mercedes tonight, but with the safety car in, we've only 14 laps, and anything can happen right now. I honestly cannot predict how this is going to go.
Absolutely. Last race of the season, of course. plenty of drivers fighting for finishing order in the championship, but I'm sure that the glory of a final race, good result, is probably foremost in most of their minds. Pretty much, I imagine, only Tirac and Smoke keeping an eye on their positions in the championship. I think everyone else was just going for glory here tonight. Safety car will come in at the end of this lap. We will have green flag racing for you very shortly, as Smoke now becomes the safety car and will decide when the drivers get to go. I don't know if you've got any insight into the restart abilities this season so far, Sab, but Smoke will have the opportunity here to control the pace.
I've seen all sorts this season with restarts. I'll be honest, I've seen people go now, I've seen people go right on the line.
Yep.
I honestly don't know how Smoke's going to play this year. I think Smoke's gone.
It looks like he's hit the accelerator before the opportunity for anyone to have a go just yet. Smoke then away. Kuiper's very smoothly away as well. Looks like fairly standard running in the background as well. Further down in the order, no one making a big inroads. A nice smooth restart. No accidents or incidents at this stage. It is as they were then at the start of lap 22. Smoke, Kuipers, Tirac, JP9, Trems, Martin, Michael Lutker, Keza, Rusman and Waitsy, the top 10. And we'll focus, of course, on the battle at the front of this race and the front of this championship. Smoke versus Tirac, with Smoke holding the fastest lap at the moment, holding the better hand overall, but it is something else to drive 13 laps with the fate of the championship lying on your mind, Sal.
It really is, and Smoke doing a perfect start, 1.6 seconds ahead of Kuipers already.
Yeah.
Tirac 3/10 behind, so he needs to clear that AlphaTauri as quick as possible. But Kuipers won't make this easy for him. He wants to still score good points. He's a very fast driver. He wants to win if possible, but right now it doesn't look like it. But Tirac needs to clear that car as quick as he can. Here comes to Tirac now. He's surely not going to send it there, but it's looking like a matter of when, not if, Tirac gets past him.
Yeah, just looking through the field if anyone was going for it. JSP coming into the pits at the end of his run here. Tirac side by side has actually managed to pass into turn 1, past Kuipers, and now it's on, boys. Now it's on. It's P2 for Tirac, 2.3 seconds away from Smoke. They're on identical strategy. It's a dry race. It's a restart situation, and it is head to head for the championship here. Smoke will see that, and his heart will sink knowing that that Tirac has managed to get ahead so early on. He was hoping that Kuipers would hold him up for a little bit, but it looks to be a fair fight here at the front, Sab.
It does, but right now, with Smoke with the fastest lap, Smoke would steal it by 1 point.
Do you know if Tirac and Smoke have got engineers working for them, or teammates able to focus on that kind of detail, or are they just going to have to hit and hope, really, and hope for the best?
I think it's just a case of hope for the best. Smoke, I believe, is in a chat with his teammate. Right. I'm not sure about Tirac, but Tirac's case now, he's got to go for this fastest lap and see if he can gain on Smoke. Yep. But right now, Smoke has built a nice gap here, and he just needs to keep that gap. The DRS is now enabled. What can Tirac do? He needs to get that fastest lap, doesn't he? But right now, Smoke is looking the guy at the moment in the money seat, as it will.
Yeah, he's certainly in control right now. Rusman passes Michael Lutker as the hard runner's still struggling. Kuiper's very much struggling to the point where he's now given up another penalty on the board. Only Smoke, Tirac, Michael Lutker and Ginger Tiger racing without penalties on the board so far. Another one for JP9 as he brings himself into contention against Kuipers for that P3, at least on the road. I can't even start to concentrate on penalties. We'll look at that towards the end. But Smoke holding that fastest lap at the moment. They're on medium tyres, so they should be in a good position to bid for that fastest lap at the end of the race. Of course, someone could play spoiler here, Sab. Maybe a teammate of a championship contender could play spoiler and take that fastest lap away.
That would be some drama, as we see JP911 overtake Kuipers for third place of the Aston Martin driver into P3. JP having a tough season as well, so it's good to see him doing a good race so far. Into P3, the Aston Martin driver, Sam Park picks up a time penalty and also overtakes Louis in the process.
Yes, yeah. So managed to get a double award there. 1 place up and 3 seconds down. Let's have a look at the penalties for a moment then, where there's a briefest of pauses. 9 seconds on the car for Martin and for Simon Palmer. Then the rest, a mix of 3 and 6, but usually in pairs it seems to be for the majority of the drivers. Shouldn't be too complicated for us to work out at the end, but let's hope that Smoke and Tirac manage to keep things as it is right now. A real train developing for the battle for P3. JP9, Kuipers, Trems and Martin. Keza, Rusman, Waitsy, all line astern here, and let's just hope this doesn't all end in tears, because when drivers have been this close for this long, frustration can build, Sab.
It really can, and you can easily outbrake yourself by a few meters, and suddenly you find yourself buried into the back of the car ahead. SFR Martin is looking pretty racy. He's had a quiet race, and he is a podium sitter, a race winner this season. He's done well, Martin, but he's just, like you say, stuck in that pack as we see Rusman pick up a penalty. He's stuck in that train, isn't he? And there's nothing more frustrating right now. You're stuck in a DRS train. You've just got to keep your sensible hat on if you can, and try and pick your moment.
Looks like Kuipers has now picked up the pace. He's now back on the back of JP9. He's on the hard tyres, will have got them up to temperature, and the race will only get better for him from here on in. Keza picks up a penalty. It's roughly one driver every sector who's picking up a new penalty. Hard for us to keep constantly updating you, but you can read at the top of the screen just like everybody else, I'm sure. Hard tyres only for Kuipers, so we'll focus on the penalties and just try and remember that Kuipers is the one that's on the hards here, as it looks like Trem's getting a bit out of shape coming out of turn turn 8. Will be vulnerable here to Martin. Trem's taking the middle of the road. Martin looking for a good exit on the exit of the hairpin as Rusman dives down the inside of Keza, and they'll go side by side down the casino straight. Should be tandem passes starting around about now, as Trems, thankfully for him, has got the DRS off the AlphaTauri in front. They'll go side by side and they'll make contact, and there is contact into the wall of champions. He was tagged by the car behind. Keza out of the race. Looks like we're going to have ourselves another safety car, as it looks like Simon Palmer making an opportunistic pass while other drivers are focusing on that yellow flag. Safety car rejoins the race for us. Michael Lutka leaving the session as well. I think that might just be a temporary disconnection, but the safety car has come out right in the middle of the field just to confuse matters, son.
Wow. Now, since Smoke has got the fastest lap, who's going to stick on a set of soft tyres and steal that fastest lap off Smoke? Because Trems now, he's out of the points. So what's to stop him deciding, well, I'm going to ruin Smoke's chances here and take that fastest lap off him? But meanwhile, look who's between Smoke and Tirac. JP, in all of that, has got ahead of Tirac. I don't know how that happened, but JP is in second place right now.
And that's going to slow Tirac down. He's not going to lose himself the second place, given the penalty on the car. But it's decision time for Smoke. It's well within the window for soft tyres, Sab, but you're giving up track position and you're making sure that everyone behind you has the impetus. Smoke refuses the pit lane. So does JP. Tirac too, slightly surprisingly. I wonder who is going to come in. It's Martin coming into the pits only so far. Is that a Red Bull? Is that Waitsy? No, he's stayed out as well. I'm surprised to see not more drivers come into the pits. Only Martin has gone in, and that means he's given up all those track positions.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing I would find is if I gave up all those positions, I've just been in a train, not able to get past. Yeah. If you're in a train with fast tyres and you still can't get past, it's going to be incredibly frustrating. So let's hope for Martin's sake that this pays off. He's got nothing to lose though, really, Martin. He's not in the championship battle. I think he just wants to go out there and have a blast for the last so many laps to see what he can do on the soft tyres. But I can imagine we might be seeing his name flash up the fastest lap in the next few laps.
Oh, and that's really interesting, isn't it, as well? So Martin, Michael Lutka and JSP have managed to put soft tyres on. They will be playing potential spoilers. Let me just play out a scenario for you here while we've got the safety car, Sab. Smoke beats Tirac to first place. Does he still win the championship, even if he can't hold on to that fastest lap?
If it stays as it is, Smoke will win the championship. If Tirac goes into second place and somebody else has got the fastest lap, Tarak would win it on race wins.
Got it. So on countback, Smoke must secure this fastest lap, and with three drivers on the circuit with soft tyres on, because of JP has got that penalty as well, and JP9 has got that penalty, Tarak will almost certainly finish second. So this is a big issue now. So Tarak in net second as things stand. Whether he'll be vulnerable to the likes of the soft runners or any of the medium runners still climbing up the order. Trems has pitted. He's gone onto a new set of mediums, interestingly enough. I imagine he's used all his softs in qualifying if he's made that decision. So Kuipers didn't decide to go to the pit lane, despite the fact that he lost places after the previous restart. It's lap 29 now. No indication yet from the safety car if it's coming in or not. The car has obviously been cleared from the track that retired. It was Keza, I think, having an accident from the secondary contact sub after being passed into the final chicane.
Yeah, I think Keza was a bit of a passenger, and he was really unfortunate. Trems had picked up wing damage during the safety car. So he's swapped his front wing and he's on a set of softs. Now, can he do his teammate a huge favour here?
And not only that, but that's big for the Constructors' Championship as well, with Haas now only with one score in the standings. Of course, Tarak will score big, but not as big as Mercedes in first and fifth as things stand as well. Could be that they're on for that championship, that Constructors' Championship. Smoke on for the double, but only, I would think, if he holds on to the fastest lap award. How much has he kept back in terms of pace? Everybody naturally on 100% on their ERS. Smoke's going to have to know when to go here, and of course he's already done this once, so he'll probably have to not do the same thing again, Sab.
Yeah, and JP will be itching to get past Smoke here with that penalty hanging over his head. He wants to eliminate it, but here we go. Smoke has gone, but JP has followed him. JP cottoned on to when Smoke was going, but he's slow out of that exit there. JP, can Tarak attack here?
Yeah, it looks that way. Tarak was focusing on his exit, and in fact, the Aston Martin goes defensive into turn one. That is going to mean that Smoke has an advantage now of being able to pull away from this battle. JP spending more time looking in his mirrors than on the apexes ahead of him, and the diffuser of the car in front. Looks like all four soft runners are 10th backwards in our 13 remaining runners into lap 30. A 5-lap shootout for the title. It's not quite the drama of 2021 season finale, but it's not far off. Waitsy collects another penalty on the board. Again, try and remember those tyre allocations, because the penalties are going to be where things count tonight. JP distancing himself slightly now from Tarak. Kuipers on the back of Tarak as well. Could play spoiler here himself. Could Kuipers getting that car back into onto the pace, and Rusman. Smoke would be loving it if Rusman can get and start making a nuisance of himself behind Tarak, Sab.
Oh yeah, Rusman will be desperate, won't he? And Kuipers, I think, had a bad exit out of the hairpin, and Rusman is on full attack of Kuipers now. Rusman on the medium tyres compared to Kuipers on the hard tyres, but Rusman not able to do anything there, so he'll be keen. I thought Rusman had hit the smaller champions then. That was very close.
Yeah, he was slightly out of control, wasn't he? Counter-steering through both apexes of the final chicane, did Rusman. It looks like he'll be trying to hold on, though, and use the DRS. As soon as it's enabled, there'll be a frantic, mad dash for the final positions. Waitsy and Louis going side by side through turns 3 and 4. Waitsy just getting the nose ahead, and it's Martin moving forward against Ginger Tiger. Martin on the soft tyres, carving through the field now and starting to unlock some pace. That could be the thing that stops Smoke from losing the fastest lap, is the fact that Martin has got traffic all in front of him. Meanwhile, Smoke at the front, starting to build the gap to JP9, who himself has got a 1.2 second gap to Tarak as well. Kuipers struggling again with those hard tyre warm-up phase, as now Rusman back on the back here, the teammate of Smoke in the Mercedes, and going for the Constructors' Championship, be trying to get himself. I don't think he's got the top speed against Kuipers. Kuipers is absolutely bossing it down that casino straight with the worst tyres on the grid. So Rusman in 5th place, unable. He's going to have to surprise him, I think, here, Sab.
He is, and Russman can see Tarak ahead, right on board with him. He can see Tarak ahead. He knows he wants to help his teammate out, but right now he's got a very, very stubborn and very wide AlphaTauri ahead of him. He's just got to keep it calm. But look who's coming back through the field once again, Simon Palmer. He seems to have had a battle with everybody tonight, Simon Palmer, and he's not one to rule out this evening either. And Russman, as much as he's looking forward, he'll also have to start looking backwards in a minute.
Now, interestingly enough, Martin, with the best prospect here of getting fastest lap away from Smoke, could end up losing that, that position.
Tirak's lost it!
No way! Where is Tirak now? He's dropped back. He's dropping further and further back. Is he suffering damage on the car? Is this the end of Tirak's championship? He's overtaken by third place in the championship, Ginger Tiger. Tirak, all at 6s and 7s. What happened, JP? Sorry, Sab, did you manage to catch it?
He ran too much over the curb, and the car just basically bottomed out, and he just spun on the curb, and it was such a soft spin. He did not hit the wall. He's not got damage, but that, I think, could be championship over unless Smoke has some sort of drama now. That Smoke's got to remain calm. He'll have seen Russman's Tirak's name drop. He's got to remain calm here as Russman and Kuipers are still battling it for third and fourth.
They absolutely are. They swap positions as Louis is out of the race. Louis out of the race as well. Another problem for the McLaren team tonight. That is a double DNF for McLaren. Russman and Kuipers continuing to battle. Kuipers top speed really keeping him in the mix here. Russman hoping to seal this one with a double podium for the Mercedes team. That could still be on if he can just get this place in front of him. That the second, third and fourth drivers all on equal penalties. Simon Palmer might as well have been using a shortcut tonight on 12 seconds of accrued penalties so far, and the race isn't even over. Waitsy, Simon Palmer side by side into the hairpin. Simon Palmer with the inside line slightly behind Waitsy with a good traction opportunity here on the way out, and they will continue this battle down the main straight. It looks like Waitsy the car with the DRS actually. Simon Palmer trying to best him just by use of ERS. Russman looks like he's going to pounce into the final chicane, and he makes the move stick. Kuipers trying to hang on for grim death, but it's 1/10 of a second apart. Waitsy is retired from the session as well on the exit of that final chicane. It is all kicking off as we see Martin up to 5th position. Simon Palmer dropping down to 6th place. Sab, I can't keep up.
And meanwhile, in all of that,
Smoke.
JP911 has been overtaken by Smoke under DRS.
And Martin down into P10 and a double wave yellow all the way through sector 1. I think we will avoid a safety car at this late stage. JSP picks up a 3-second penalty. We won't worry ourselves too much about that. Smoke still on target though for a potential win, and Kuipers and Russman trying to battle out for this podium on equal penalties. This is all over the shop.
It is exploded, hasn't it? JP, it was a fantastic move, but I think Smoke, once again, playing sensible. He doesn't need to fight JP here. He realises they've got a penalty. Play it sensible here. He's going to stay within DRS. He just needs to play it sensible now. Bring this car home. The championship will be his. He doesn't need to do any silly battles on track and end up spinning out or getting damaged. So Smokeman playing it sensibly there, but he's got his teammate now into P3, so it's looking right now on the final lap that it could be a double championship for both Mercedes and Smoke.
Yeah, and actually Kuipers picking up another penalty there, so handing the advantage to Russman even further. Could be a double podium celebration. Russman still technically in with a shot of getting second from JP9, who may not even hold on to this podium, let alone winning the race on the final checkered flag. Martin retires from the session. An absolute up and down race for Martin. Has been all over the place. There are 10 runners remaining. Will we get 10 right to the end of the race? Sab, I'm going to as the main commentator team, part of the main commentary team for the whole season, you will of course call the end of this race for us.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we see JP now one final time round the hairpin, taking it to the start-finish line. He will cross the line as the race winner, but unfortunately for him, with that time penalty over his head, he is going to concede that win to Smoke. Following him home here, Smoke's going to take the championship. The championship F2 champion will be Smoke. JP comes across the line for the win, but Smoke takes the victory into P1. The time penalties will start to kick in now. JP hangs on to second place with Russman in P3. Tarak, I think, has just been bumped up to fourth place through all the penalties.
Incredible stuff, absolutely incredible stuff to finish that race. Simon Palmer ended up 9th. Ginger Tiger picked up driver of the day. I'm only laughing because I haven't seen what he's done to deserve it. We've been so focused on the other drivers. Ginger Tiger was last at one point in that race in the mix, and he still picks up driver of the day. Waitsy, understandably frustrated at the end. I understand that we do have podium interviews to come. We're lucky enough to have the constructors and drivers champions scoring at the front of the grid as well. That is both Aston Martins on the podium. Good day for them, but there is Smoke lifting the trophy, and that would have been a breathless one for Smoke, even at the front of the grid without all the drama going on behind Sub.
Oh, most definitely. I'm sure the nerves and everything else would have been kicking in, and especially when he saw his rival spin out, because you get into that phase where you're thinking, I can't make the mistake as well. But there you have it. Our final race. Here's a final classification with lots of penalties. Smoke, championship winner in first place. JP911, fantastic drive from him. I personally would give him driver of the day, absolutely superb. In second place, Ginger Tiger in third. Tarak in fourth, Russman in fifth, Kuipers in sixth, Trems in seventh, JSP in eighth, Simon Palmer in P9, Michael Lucker in P10, with DNFs from Martin, Waitsy, Louis, Keza, Joe Hamster, and that is it. So I've called the wrong people into the commentary box, so ignore that because of the time penalties. So we should have JP, Smoke and Ginger in here with us, so we'll just wait for those guys.
Yeah, I haven't seen Smoke turn up yet, and when the drivers do get to talk to us, hopefully, if they're listening in, they can just check that their party audio setting is set to share, because that is something that catches us out frequently. If you have been watching and you've enjoyed this one, please hit the like button. Make sure you've subscribed to the channel. There's 2 more nights of racing left in this season 15, tomorrow night and Thursday night. Has Smoke made it yet, Sub?
No, I'm just going to drop him a quick message.
Let's hope that Smoke can join us, because we'd love to talk to him. But a fantastic Canadian Grand Prix. Couldn't be much more different to F1 last night, which was, let's be honest about it, I can say this on a different stream, a snooze fest last night in terms of the actual driving overall. But 2 safety cars, drivers going up and down the grid order all over the shop. But there was one man at the front of the race who had a job to do to secure the title, and he joins us now. Smoke, congratulations, the F2 champion of season 15.
Thank you. I'm shaking. I've got no words.
Oh, that was dramatic from any seat on the race, but looked like you perhaps had the easiest job of all tonight. How was it for you? How are you feeling? What's the heart rate like right now?
Heart rate's through the roof. I might have to go get one of those cuffs just to check my blood pressure. No, that was not an easy race by any means, because the whole time I'm thinking about positioning points. And obviously, I knew if I got the win and the fastest lap and Tarak finished P2, I'd get him by a point. I lost the fastest lap, and I knew that if he got overtaken, he didn't have any penalties, so I was just, I didn't think it was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, Russ jumped on, was on the chat with me, and he just went, "He's dropped it." So I just stayed silent. I went, "I'm not celebrating. I'm just going to keep going."
No, you couldn't celebrate that race. It looked like it was slippery out there tonight. Any difference in terms of the track conditions? Was it what you were expecting? We were wondering whether there might have been a tailwind going into the hairpin tonight.
Not so much that. I think it was track temperature was the issue,
right,
where it was so overcast. So that played into my hands, really, because I'm good at looking after the tyres. However, I'm just not keeping the temps up was the struggle, because I had such low tyre pressures.
Got it. Yeah. Sab, talk to our new champion. What have you got for him in terms of questions?
Well, I just want to say, once you had seen what had happened to Tarak, you was under pressure then from JP. Was it just a case of just don't do anything silly here? If he overtakes you, don't challenge, don't do anything to potentially cause an accident here.
Yeah, it was just playing it safe, just trying to bring it home. I knew he had 6 seconds. Ideally, I wanted to win on track. I didn't want to do it via penalties, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was just a case of, I saw him. He had so much more pace than I did at the end. I saw him come in. I was expecting to go around my outside because I was slowly drifting over to the left, and then he went down the inside, down the left-hand side of me. I suddenly saw him. I was like, "Oh crap! Move out of the way, let him through." And then I just followed him.
I think we can get away with that little four-letter word there on the stream. Try to keep it as clean as possible while we're live. But yeah, congratulations, Smoke. Perhaps the only bad thing you've done all night. So I think we can live with that. But yeah, tremendous for someone who's been watching you guest drive in F1 all season. I think that's a tremendous result. You do tend to outscore Tarak in F1, but you managed to pull it out of the bag tonight. So yeah. Do let us know how it feels at the end of the stream, because we'll give you a chance to reflect. But we've got our second place driver, JP9. JP, how was your race? That looked dramatic, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congrats to Smoke. He drove well all year. I think that championship fight was very interesting with him, Ginger, and Tarak as well. I was obviously egging on Ginger because he's my teammate. But
yep.
Anyway, we'll move on. But yeah, no, Smoke was so quick today. Tarak as well. I think Tarak was just unlucky with the spin. But yeah, I felt like I had the pace today for once. First time all season I actually had the pace. So I just went for it. I knew I had nothing to lose. I didn't want to cause any trouble with the two lads, but at the same time I wanted to go win the race, but I knew I had penalties, so I just thought I'll win it on track, and
yeah,
I'll still be satisfied. So yeah.
Sab, you've watched JP9 all season. What have you got as far as questions for him?
Well, I just want to say I'm absolutely here. I commentated on you in F3 last season, and it's been a struggle this season. And I just want to say, what has changed tonight? What felt differently for you tonight? Because it has been a tough season for you. But what clicked for you around this track?
Well, I think first of all, I'm on the PS5, so that might have helped. I don't know, but I think also
better hardware.
I was kind of, but I was kind of fiddling around with the force feedback and calibration, and to be honest, I wasn't comfortable with it for most of the season. So I think I might have just got it right today, and also the track suits me, I think, as well. But yeah, it has been a struggle to say it lightly, but yeah, I was able to finish the season off nicely enough, so yeah.
Tremendous. Well, congratulations. A great way to finish the season, and good luck in your off-season practice or off-season ignoring F1 for a bit, whichever will work out best for you. Third on the podium, and someone I've commentated over before. Welcome to the press conference, Ginger Tiger. I know Russman's waiting, and we will talk to him as part of the new constructors winning title champions. But Ginger Tiger, I have to say, I thought your championship chances were completely over mid-race. You were right at the back of the field. You've ended up picking up driver of the day and a podium. How does that sit with you?
Firstly, congratulations to Smoke and JP, and obviously the Mercs for winning constructors. Yeah, I clipped the wall just before the pit stops, and I was mortified, and I tried to keep going, and I couldn't. So I went in to change my wing, and it didn't change my wing.
No.
So
okay.
That's why I went in again when the safety car came out. So the safety car did me a favour. What was important to me was just no penalties. I could see everybody had penalties. I was talking to JP on the chat as we were going through, and very similar to Russman, he said, Tarak's dropped it. I said, right, give Smoke a nudge straight into the wall. And then no, I didn't. Hey. No, I didn't. No need for that. No, I didn't. I'm only kidding. In all honesty, it was an outside shot for me today. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But yeah, we had a great season. Been a lot of fun. I've had a few wins. But yeah, it's been great with racing with these guys, and we'll see where we end up next season.
Well, I've missed it. Honestly, I've missed commentating over F2 this season, so it's good to be back here for the final. But Sab, any questions from your side for Ginger?
I just want to say commiserations, really, because you've looked like you could win this championship. How do you rate your season overall? It looks like you were always there or thereabouts, but like you say, the bridesmaid, never the bride. How would you rate your championship this season? Because from my point of view, you've had a solid season, and you've really challenged those guys at the very front throughout the whole of the season.
Yeah, the only frustrating part for me, I haven't been able to qualify all season. I've always qualified 5th up onwards or backwards, and I've struggled with qualifying, but my race pace has been really good. So if I can crack the qualifying, I've got half a chance for next season. But yeah, it's been a good season. Made some mistakes. I'm only a few points off, so if you look back, and everybody can do it, what if? But yeah, I've had a good season. So yeah, it's been really good, enjoyable. And congrats again to Smoke.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Very sporting as ever from you, Ginger Tiger, and congrats on a podium to finish the season. Rusman's been waiting in the wings a long time. Rusman, I'll give you the first word as the new Constructors Champion here in F2. How was your race? I know you got a little bit excited on the radio with Smoke, with Tirak's outage, but what else went on for you, and how does it feel to be a Constructors Champion?
Oh, mate, I'm over the moon, Webbo. Really am, mate. I'm lost for words. If you thought that me telling Smoke that Tarak had binned it, if you thought I was overexcited there, you should have heard me passing the finish line at the end. Yes, but no, just a crazy race. I felt awful, to be quite honest with you, because I went into the race wanting to sort of help Smoke in any way I could.
Yeah.
Disastrous qualifying session yet again. If Ginger thinks that his qualifying's bad, qualifying 5th, he should try qualifying 15th every race and see how he goes from there. But
we'll bookend in the grid. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was just one of those races. I just had to stay in it. I knew that there'd be a safety car or two at some stage, and everything just sort of fell into place for me. I got so lucky with Trems and Keza had an accident by the Wall of Champions, and I somehow managed to avoid that. And then, of course, Tarak had his moment as well.
Yeah.
I just want to say commiserations to Tarak. He's been unbelievable all season long. I don't know how many wins he's got, but
we were discussing the possibility that both Smoke and Tarak, if they'd have finished 1-2, it would have gone back to wins count back, and Tarak would have had it if Smoke hadn't held on to that fastest lap. With drivers pitting for the soft tyres towards the end, we thought, well, that was under threat. Martin peaked really early and after the second restart, and then bombed it right at the end. It was absolute drama from beginning to end. I think we could watch that stream several times over and spot things we hadn't seen before, Sab. But a word perhaps for the new Constructors Champions.
Well, congratulations, Russman and Smoke, Constructors Champions. You've had a superb season, really consistent throughout. Russman, is there any particular race that stood out for you this season that you thought, I really nailed it?
To be honest with you, no. No.
Pretty harsh.
During the when we went into the mid-season break, I was leading the standings, and I was thrilled about that. But I always felt like I was hanging onto the coattails of drivers and racers that were so much quicker than I was. So I couldn't quite believe where I was. I almost had a nosebleed, sort of being top of the league. But no, my form's completely tailed off, which has been disappointing second half of the season. I picked it up again the last couple of races, but the one that stands out for me is probably Spain. Spain in the wet. It was a classic example of teamwork, and I have to credit my teammate. I haven't said congratulations to Smoke yet. Huge congratulations to you, mate. And we've been racing together 2 seasons now, and we've won 3 out of 3 constructors titles. So
wow,
yeah, we're
That is quite the pairing.
Partnership, right? And I'm going to miss you next season, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that is quite the pairing. I mean, Smoke. Last word to you in terms of the drivers. You've had a bit of time to reflect on it now. You're saying moving up. You're headed towards F1 full time next season. I anticipate on the back of this. You may even be joined by Tirac again. Who knows? But Smoke, new champion, and has it set in yet? And how are you feeling?
It's settled in a little bit. Yeah, I'm all right. It's gone well. It's been a good season. It's been a testing season. Nothing has been a given. It's all been hard work. Trying to get the time into practice all season has been really, really tricky. Right. So to come out drivers champion and constructors champions, it's testament to the teamwork between me and Russ, really, because without him sort of pushing me along when I get down, and without me kicking in to get him to push up a little bit more, you know, we kept pushing each other to get better results. So if it weren't for Russ pushing me, and I'm assuming likewise for him, the constructors wouldn't have been possible this season.
Ah, tremendous stuff. Sab, any sort of key moments, highlights, or standout performances you want to point out before we say goodnight? I will go through the provisional points as well once you've had another chance to reflect.
I would have to say tonight, I'd say Smoke's best race was tonight. He overall, his qualifying was fantastic. He led from the front. Those safety cars would have been a pain in the arse for him, excuse my language there. But apart from that, Smoke, he did put a foot wrong tonight, and he needed to do it tonight, and he absolutely nailed it. So I think he pulled out his best race tonight, and he thoroughly deserved the victory. Unfortunately, back did fall away at the end, but overall, I think Smoke thoroughly deserved the victory. And Mercedes thoroughly deserved the constructors as well. They've been so consistent throughout. Haas pushed them towards, but didn't have enough. But I just want to say a huge congratulations to the whole of F2. This is my first season commentating F2, and they've gave us some incredible races this season, incredible qualifying, and I really have enjoyed commentating over these guys this season. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, well, they make the job easy for us as commentators when they put on a show as exciting as that. The provisional point standings then, courtesy of JP, my co-commentator in F1, is Smoke 111, Tirac 107, and Mercedes finished on 170 to Haas 153. It was very close. It was a great title showdown. A shame that it ended the way it did for Tirac, but congratulations to our podium, congratulations to our new champions. And from Sab, from DeLonghi, who wasn't able to join us tonight, unfortunately, and from everyone involved in the running of PS F2. Thank you to everyone for joining us this season. Do tune in tomorrow and Thursday for the remaining races, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like my commentary, you can follow me at WebORed5. But from all of us here tonight, we will catch you on the next race day.